Welcome to a deep dive into something that, well, honestly, could really, totally reshape the tech world as we know it. OpenAI's Stargate project.
Hmm.
And I bet you're thinking, come on, another AI thing. What's the big deal with this one?
All right.
But buckle up, because this is huge. We're talking $500 billion, a gamble to build this crazy AI infrastructure. Right here in the U.S.,
Yeah.
multiple massive data centers, powerful enough to train, the next T generation of AI.
Yeah.
We're talking potential leaps toward AGI, a whole tech ecosystem. Think a rival to Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
But of course, a ton of questions about the risks, too.
Yeah. What's really interesting about Stargate is it's not just about building bigger, faster AI.
Right.
It's really a strategic move in this whole global AI race, right?
All right.
Especially with China. They're really coming up fast in this field.
Yeah.
And the implications go way beyond just tech. I mean, we're talking about economic power, national security, maybe even the future of humanity hanging in the balance.
High stakes, for sure. So let's break it down, huh? Who are the brains and the money behind all this?
Right.
OpenAI, obviously they're leading the charge, but they've got some serious heavy hitters on their side.
Yeah.
SoftBank's leading the investment. And, you got Masayoshi Son at the helm. This guy's famous for making bold bets on future tech.
Mm.
Then you bring in these giants, Oracle, Microsoft, NVIDIA, ARM. It's like a power lineup we haven't really seen before.
Yeah, and this concentration of power is actually what's got some folks kind of worried, including one very outspoken tech person.
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Right, of course.
He was an OpenAI co-founder. Now he's head of XAI.
Right.
And he's been publicly questioning whether SoftBank can really put their money where their mouth is. He's even said they've secured way less than the $10 billion they promised. It's a fascinating dynamic, right?
Yeah.
You've got this Musk-Altman feud, as they're calling it. It kind of exposes these two totally different ways of thinking about AI.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about the cash. It's two different visions for the future of AI. You got Musk. He's been very vocal, shall we say, about the dangers of AGI. He's all about caution, taking it slow. And then you got Altman, who seems, maybe more about pushing the limits, like a move fast and break things kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But let's set the drama aside for a second, okay? Let's get to the core of Stargate here.
Right.
What are they actually trying to do with this whole massive project?
Well, OpenAI, they've been pretty clear about their goals. And they're ambitious, to say the least.
Okay.
One of the main things is to make sure the U.S. is leading the way in AI. Especially because, as we said, China's influence is growing.
Right.
They think Stargate will not only get us closer to AGI, but also give the U.S. economy a boost and even maybe improve national security, all through AI.
Okay, so global competition, economic growth, national security. It sounds like Stargate is trying to hit a lot of targets at once.
Yeah.
But where is all this going down? Where are they actually building these massive data centers?
Well, the first one's already under construction
Oh, wow.
in Abilene, Texas.
Really? Texas?
Yep. It's strategic. I mean, Texas has a lot of open space. It's business friendly and, a huge potential for renewable energy.
Texas, the renewable energy powerhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why that's a big deal for a project that's going to need a ton of energy, like Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet the folks in Abilene aren't complaining about the potential economic boom coming their way.
Oh, for sure. The economic impact is going to be huge. Stargate is expected to create a ton of jobs. I mean, everything from construction workers building the centers to data scientists doing the cutting-edge AI stuff. Might even attract a bunch of tech people and turn Abilene into a tech hub.
So, like Silicon Valley, but with a Texas twist?
Exactly.
That's pretty wild to imagine. But let's talk about, the big elephant in the room here, energy. These data centers are going to need a ton of it.
Yeah.
Can they really run on just renewables?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's caused a lot of debate. OpenAI says, yes, they're committed to renewables, but critics are saying, hold on, Stargate is going to need, massive new wind and solar farms, which, that comes with its own environmental stuff. Then there's water usage for cooling, right?
Yeah.
Texas is hot. And, of course, what's this going to do to energy costs for people living there?
Sounds like a classic problem, huh? Trying to balance out technological progress with the environmental and social costs. But OpenAI, they seem pretty set on controlling their own destiny, Not just with energy, but also in a way that could, really shake up the tech world as we know it. I mean, there's all these rumors they're going for something even bigger. building their own hardware.
Oh, yeah, the rumors are getting louder.
What's Peck?
People are saying OpenAI might actually design their own CPUs, GPUs, all these essential components, essentially cutting their reliance on companies like NVIDIA. It's bringing up so many questions. Can OpenAI actually pull this off? And what would this mean for the companies that make chips now? It's a huge deal.
This is where it gets really fascinating for me. Why would they even try such a bold move? Like, what's the advantage of building their own hardware?
Well, there's a few reasons.
Yeah.
First, they get way more control. They can fine-tune everything for max performance. Second, they're not reliant on other companies anymore, which is a big deal with all the, global stuff happening.
Right, all the supply chain uncertainties.
Exactly.
So potentially they get more efficiency, more independence, maybe even save money in the long run. It's a risky move, but it could pay off big time, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It would be a total power move.
Right.
Imagine OpenAI not only leading the software side, but setting the hardware standards for everyone else doing AI. That's got to have companies like NVIDIA kind of nervous.
I bet. It's like Stargate is about so much more than just building powerful AI. It's about controlling the whole environment around it. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's get back to, the human side of things.
Right.
One of the big promises of Stargate is all the jobs it'll create.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They're projecting hundreds of thousands of new jobs.
Wow, that's a lot.
A wide range of skills, too. Everything from those construction workers building the data centers to, like I said, a data scientist developing those algorithms.
That's a huge number, especially when you think about how automation is taking over jobs in so many industries. But it also makes you wonder, are we actually preparing people for the jobs that Stargate and, the whole AI revolution are going to create?
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole idea of Stargate being this good thing hinges on us being able to, equip people with the skills they need to thrive in this new world.
We have to put a real focus on education, retraining programs.
Yeah. Things that focus on the skills that are going to be in high demand. Data analysis, software engineering, but also those softer skills like critical thinking, problem solving, that kind of stuff.
Stargate is really forcing us to face some of those big questions we've been avoiding about AI's impact on society, huh?
Yeah.
But there's one more thing we got to talk about, and it's a bit of an elephant in the room.
What's that?
The military uses. The Pentagon's been pretty open about their interest in AI.
Right.
And a project like Stargate, well, it could give them access to computing power on a level that's, frankly, a little scary to think about.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it's one we can't ignore.
Right.
Stargate has the potential to really push forward the development of military AI, which that could have huge consequences for global security, for the balance of power. We have to think carefully about the ethical side, the risks, especially when you consider stuff like autonomous weapons systems. The possibility of an AI arms race.
It really feels like we're at a crossroads here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Stargate embodies both the amazing potential of AI and those really daunting challenges that come with it. It's a gamble, that's for sure, and the stakes are unbelievably high.
It's a gamble that could completely change the world, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that the future of AI isn't just happening to us. It's something we're actively creating through the choices we're making right now.
Okay, so we've talked about who's involved, the goals, the good and the bad. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But before we go deeper into the ethical and geopolitical stuff surrounding Stargate, I think we need to step back and ask a really basic question.
Okay.
Is this gamble even worth it? We're back, and man, I don't know about you, but my head's still spinning from that last part. It's clear that Stargate has got people talking. Some are saying it's this, like, next giant leap for humanity. And others are, well, let's just say they're a little more skeptical.
Yeah, it is kind of fascinating to see those two sides, isn't it?
Right.
You've got the people who see AI as the answer, to all these huge problems we're facing, climate change, diseases, you name it. They think Stargate is the key to unlocking all these solutions, leading to a future where AI helps us solve problems that have been around forever.
And then there's the other side, the people who are, well, a little more freaked out, maybe even scared of what happens if we create these machines that are smarter than us. It's like that classic sci-fi thing, right?
Yeah.
AI turning against us. But with Stargate, it feels a lot less like fiction and a lot more like something we actually need to worry about.
Yeah, that's the question that's been hanging over the AI world for ages. What happens when we create AGI, artificial general intelligence?
Right.
That's going to help to destroy us. And Stargate, with all its power, all its goals, it's bringing those questions front and center.
I gotta admit, the whole AGI thing does make me feel a little uneasy. But is it really possible, like in our lifetime? I mean, some experts say it's going to happen for sure. Others say it's still way off. How do you make sense of all these different opinions?
It's a debate that's probably going to go on for years.
Yeah.
The thing is, we still don't even fully understand how our own consciousness
Right.
works, right?
Yeah.
So trying to create it artificially, that's a whole other level. It's complicated.
Right.
But projects like Stargate, they're pushing the limits,
Yeah.
making that line between sci-fi and reality a lot blurrier.
So we're in this weird in-between space where AGI could be this amazing breakthrough, or it could be a huge threat. So given all this uncertainty, how do we even approach this new world? How do we make sure AI is used for good, not for bad?
I think it starts with talking,
Okay.
open, honest conversations about the good and the bad that AI could bring.
Yeah.
We got to move past these simple ideas of utopia or dystopia.
Yeah.
We need to really think critically about these technologies.
Yeah.
And it can't just be the tech people. It has to be everyone. Governments, industry leaders, researchers, even everyday people.
Yeah.
We need to come together to figure out how to develop AI responsibly.
It's like building a house, right? You need a blueprint, a solid foundation, a team of experts working together to make sure it doesn't fall apart. You can't just start throwing bricks around and hope for the best.
Exactly. And when it comes to AI, that blueprint has to include things like funding research into AI safety, setting clear ethical rules, and really focusing on education and job training. We need to see those potential problems coming and figure out how to prevent them before these technologies are everywhere.
So it's bigger than just code and algorithms.
Way bigger.
It's about understanding how these technologies affect the whole world and making sure they line up with human values.
Exactly.
This is a huge challenge, but we can't ignore it.
It's not just about preventing the worst-case scenarios either. It's about making sure AI benefits everyone,
Right.
not just a few powerful people.
Huh.
Right. Using AI to tackle those big global problems, to give individuals more power, to create a fairer world. That's what we should be aiming for.
That's a vision worth fighting for. But let's be real, AI is already being used in ways that are, well, not very fair. We see those algorithms that are biased, that make social divides worse, even being used for surveillance and control. How do we balance those current problems with the hope for a better future with AI?
It's a tension we can't ignore.
No, for sure.
AI, like any technology, is just a tool.
Yeah.
It can be used for good or bad. And how it's developed, how it's used, that reflects the values of the people who control it.
That's a good point.
That's why it's so important to have different voices involved to question those assumptions, to make sure AI development is guided by, fairness, transparency, accountability.
So it's about more than just knowing the technical stuff. It's about bringing people together from different backgrounds, different fields, different ways of thinking to make sure AI reflects the values of a diverse and inclusive world. That's a tall order.
It is. But it's necessary.
Yeah.
But hey, let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk about what Stargate means for the whole world.
Okay.
How's this project going to affect that competition between the U.S. and China for, AI dominance?
Right. That's a big one.
It's definitely up the ante. Some people think Stargate will give the U.S. a big advantage. But it's also probably going to push China to catch up even faster.
Oh, yeah.
Which, could lead to a much more intense arms race.
It's both exciting and kind of scary, right? Like watching these two tech giants going head to head using AI as their weapons. But what does that mean for everyone else, the rest of the world? Will other countries get caught in the middle?
It's definitely a risk. AI is becoming a major factor in who has economic and military power.
Right.
And countries that fall behind, they could end up at a real disadvantage. This could lead to a whole global scramble for AI dominance, with everyone trying to control this incredibly powerful technology.
So you've got these two superpowers, the US and China, going at it, and then potentially a bunch of other countries trying to keep up. It paints a pretty fragmented, competitive picture of the future.
It does.
Is there any hope for countries to, actually work together in this AI-powered world?
I think there's always hope for cooperation.
Okay, good.
But it requires a change in how we think. We need to stop seeing this as a zero-sum game. Like if one country wins, the other has to lose.
Yeah.
We need to recognize that these AI challenges, they're global challenges. The opportunities, too.
So instead of seeing AI as a weapon to use against each other, we need to see it as a way to solve problems together.
Exactly. Climate change, pandemics, poverty, these are things that affect everyone no matter where they live.
Right.
And AI, if we develop it the right way, it could help us tackle those problems in a way we never could before.
That makes sense.
But it takes a willingness to share what we know, to work together, to put the well-being of all of humanity first.
It's a vision of the future where AI brings us together instead of tearing us apart.
Yeah.
It's a good vision, but it won't just happen on its own.
Right.
It takes effort from all of us, from the people making the decisions to everyday people like us.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so we've talked about the global stuff, the potential for cooperation, the need to be responsible with AI. But I can't shake this feeling about those military uses. It feels like opening Pandora's box, you know? Like we're unleashing this technology that could make conflicts worse and destabilize the world.
It's a legitimate concern.
Yeah.
Stargate, with all that computing power, it could make military AI advance much faster.
Yeah.
And that includes autonomous weapons systems, which brings up some serious ethical and security questions.
Autonomous weapon systems, just the idea of machines deciding who lives and dies on the battlefield, that's terrifying, like something out of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's something a lot of experts are worried about.
Yeah.
The thought of machines fighting wars without humans controlling them, it makes you think. Who's accountable? What about unintended consequences?
So what can we even do to stop this from happening? Is there any way to stop this AI arms race before it gets out of control?
Well, there's a growing movement to ban autonomous weapons completely,
Really?
just like chemical and biological weapons. The idea is that machines should never have the power to kill people,
Yeah.
that those weapons would cross a line we should never cross.
To me, it seems obvious. Machines don't have the same moral judgment as humans.
Right.
They don't have empathy. They don't understand the situation like we do. Giving them the power to kill just seems reckless.
A lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
But there are also those who say, wait, autonomous weapons could actually make war less awful.
Less awful. Really? How?
They argue it could mean fewer civilian casualties, less emotional trauma for soldiers, because they say machines aren't driven by fear, anger, revenge. They can make more, quote-unquote, rational decisions in the middle of a battle.
That's a chilling thought, though, right? Machines deciding who lives and who dies.
Yeah.
Even if they could make better decisions, do we really want to live in a world where wars are fought by algorithms?
It's a question that really makes us think about what war is, what role technology should have, and what we value as a society. Do we want to hand over the control of war to machines? Or do we believe that human judgment, even with all its flaws, is still essential when it comes to life and death?
It's a conversation we need to have right now before it's too late.
I agree.
We can't wait until autonomous weapons are already being used to start thinking about this.
We need to be talking about this everywhere, in governments, in research labs, even around the dinner table. We have to look at the ethical side of AI in warfare, not just what it can do.
Okay, so we've talked about the ethical stuff, but there's also the practical side. Even if we all agree that autonomous weapons are a bad idea, how do we actually stop them from being built?
Right.
AI can be used for good or bad. How do we draw that line?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
There are no easy answers.
No.
But I think the first step is to talk about it on a global level.
Okay.
To make AI and global security a top priority for countries around the world.
It's almost like trying to put the genie back in the bottle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once this tech is out there, it's hard to control.
It is.
But we got to try. We have to work together to set some rules, some guidelines, maybe even international treaties to control how military AI is developed and used.
Absolutely. And it's not just about governments.
Right.
Companies, research institutions, everyone has a role to play in making sure AI in warfare is used responsibly and ethically, so that it leads to peace and security, not more conflict and instability.
That's a big responsibility, but one we can't ignore.
Exactly.
We can't just sit back and hope for the best. We have to be involved in shaping this AI-powered world we're creating.
And it starts with being aware, with learning, with getting involved, asking those tough questions, demanding transparency from the people in charge, and holding each other accountable for the choices we make.
Well said. Okay, so we've dug into the potential risks of Stargate, but let's not forget about the potential benefits.
Right.
This project could lead to some incredible breakthroughs in things like medicine, energy, climate science. It could be huge.
It's important to remember both sides, yeah.
Yeah.
Stargate has the potential to speed up scientific progress, create whole new industries, improve our lives in ways we can't even imagine. But those good things won't just happen automatically.
Right.
We have to plan carefully, think about the ethics, and be committed to using AI for good.
So it's a balancing act, like walking a tightrope between using AI's power and controlling its potential dangers.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a challenge that needs us to be both optimistic and careful. We need to believe in what humans can achieve, but also be cautious about the risks.
Stargate reminds us that the future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're creating. Every day, with every decision, every action, every conversation we have about this technology that has the power to change everything.
Okay, we've covered a lot today, from the potential benefits of Stargate to the risks of an AI arms race. But there's one more thing about this project that I want to talk about,
Yeah.
and it might be the most mind-blowing of all.
What's that?
The potential long-term effects on society, on our economy, on what it even means to be human.
And that's where we're really entering the unknown.
Right.
Stargate isn't just a tech project. It's a social experiment on a massive scale.
Wow.
An experiment that could change how we see technology, each other, even ourselves.
So buckle up, everyone. We're about to go on a journey into the unknown, a deep dive into the possible futures that Stargate might create.
Stay with us as we explore what this ambitious project could mean for the future of humanity.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Stargate. We've talked about why it's happening, the good and the bad, and all those global power struggles it's stirring up. But now I want to look further down the road. Like, what kind of world are we actually building with this thing? What could life be like if Stargate really shapes the future?
Yeah, it's a question that gets you excited and a little scared at the same time, right? Stargate is like this catalyst, pushing us faster and faster towards a future that's totally intertwined with AI in ways we probably can't even imagine yet.
So let's start with the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
The best case scenario.
Okay.
What could Stargate help us achieve if it all works out perfectly?
Well, in the best case scenario, Stargate could be this huge leap forward for science, like leading to breakthroughs we've been trying to crack for ages.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where AI helps us figure out diseases like Alzheimer's, cancer, and actually cure them, saving millions of lives.
That's a powerful thought. A future where AI helps us conquer diseases that have been plaguing us forever.
Yeah.
What other areas could see like these big leaps forward thanks to Stargate?
Well, think about clean energy. We could see AI designing super efficient solar panels, the next generation of batteries, maybe even like fusion power, finally getting us off fossil fuels.
So a future running on clean energy, all because of AI working in the background. That's amazing.
It is. And what about climate change? That's a big one for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Could Stargate actually help us with that?
Definitely. AI could be crucial in building those climate models, making them way more accurate than what we have now, so we can predict what's going to happen and prepare better. It could also help us develop things like carbon capture technology, even make our energy grid smarter to reduce that impact we have on the environment.
So Stargate could give us a real chance in this fight against climate change. It's definitely a more hopeful outlook than all the doom and gloom you hear all the time. But even in this best case scenario, I got to ask, what about jobs?
Right.
People are worried that AI is going to take over their jobs.
It's a valid concern, for sure. But I think the future of work with AI isn't about replacement. It's about changing how we work. Imagine a world where AI handles those dangerous jobs, the repetitive ones, the boring stuff, leaving humans to focus on things that need creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, things that AI can't do.
So it's not about us versus them. It's about working together.
Exactly.
But that new world of work would mean changing how we think about education, right? And job training.
Oh, absolutely. We have to prepare people for the jobs of the future, which means they'll need to be able to work with AI systems, understand all that data, and be ready to adapt as technology keeps changing. That means rethinking our whole education system, investing in ways for people to keep learning throughout their lives, and building a culture that embraces change and innovation.
It sounds like a future full of possibilities, but also one that might require some serious adjustments.
Yeah.
But we also got to acknowledge that not everyone's thrilled about this AI-powered future.
Right.
Some people see it with a lot of fear and doubt.
It's understandable. Anything this powerful comes with risks, and AI is no exception. In the worst-case scenario, Stargate could make the inequality we already see in the world even worse.
Okay, so what could actually go wrong? Paint a picture of that dystopian future that some people are scared of.
Imagine a world where just a few big companies and governments control all the most advanced AI.
Okay.
And they use it to get even richer and more powerful, leaving everyone else behind.
Right.
Algorithms could be used to manipulate how people think and act, reinforcing those biases that already exist, even creating these echo chambers that shut down anyone who disagrees.
A world where the rich get richer, the powerful get more powerful, and everyone else is stuck. And it's all because of AI. That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are worried about surveillance getting even worse in this future.
That's a real concern for sure.
Yeah.
AI could be used to build these surveillance systems that are way more advanced, way more intrusive than anything we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Think about facial recognition, tracking your every move, social media posts being analyzed to predict what you're going to do, your personal data being used to create these detailed profiles that are bought and sold. It's a loss of privacy and freedom.
It sounds like a surveillance state straight out of a movie,
Yeah.
where someone's always watching you, analyzing you, maybe even using that information against you.
It's a reminder that the choices we make now about how we develop AI will decide what kind of society we have in the future. If we're not careful, AI could be used to concentrate power in the hands of a few, to take away our privacy, to undermine the very idea of democracy.
That's a serious warning.
It is.
We can't just blindly embrace AI without thinking about what could go wrong. We have to be actively involved in shaping this technology and making sure it leads to a future that benefits all of us, not just a select few.
Absolutely. It's on all of us. It means having those open and honest conversations about the values we want AI to reflect, the protections we need to put in place, the kind of world we want to leave for our kids and grandkids.
So what does all this mean for the people listening? What can they actually do to get ready for this AI future, whether it ends up being good or bad?
Well, I think the most important thing is to stay informed. Learn about AI, how it works, the good and the bad. Don't just accept what you hear, whether it's all sunshine and rainbows or doom and gloom. Think critically, be curious, be engaged. Don't let the future of AI just happen to you. Be a part of shaping it.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Stargate. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
And I hope it's left you with more questions than answers. Because the truth is, the future of AI is full of unknowns. And that's both exciting and, well, a little terrifying.
It's a future that needs us to pay attention, to think critically, to be willing to imagine possibilities that are beyond anything we've ever known before.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions. Because the future of AI, it's really in our hands.